Hey guys, my name is Kern. It's 1,000,000 degrees Celsius here in Canada, and welcome back to Octane Streets Road here on YouTube. That never ends, and today I'm going to be installing an aftermarket Pioneer DMH 2660NEX head unit into my 2006 beautiful Mustang GT. Now, while this car is super amazing, I love it in every way, I have to admit that the interior in terms of technology is a little bit lacking. Again, it's a 14-plus-year-old car, so I'm not faulting the car at all. It's just, you know, I want to get a little bit of new tech in with the old beautiful styling, and that's where this head unit comes in. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect my negative battery terminal so that we can work on the electronics of this car without worrying about being shocked. Let's get it. Alright guys, so now that I got the battery disconnected, what we're going to need to do to get the stock OEM radio or head unit out of the actual center console here is we're actually going to start at the very back of the center console with these two Phillips screws here. Once we take those out, we'll go ahead and pop this whole thing off. I know it sounds like it's magic, but I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. Start with these two screws and then we'll move on to the next step. I'm going to go ahead and do it faster with both arms. Alright, so we got the two Phillips screws out. So now what we're actually going to do is I'm going to set these down right here. And then I'm going to grab my plastic panel trim tools. I highly recommend plastic ones because metal ones could actually chew up the plastic on the interior of the vehicle. So I got these plastic ones, and what we're going to want to do is kind of just pry this little bezel trim off. You just want to get this under here and gently pry upwards, going around the whole bezel trim like that. And then this should just pop right off. Go ahead like this. And then what we're going to want to do is actually, you could try at first to pop the panel off from this side, the very front of it, but I know that this isn't going to work for mine because I gave it a little test already. And so an alternative of what you could do is actually start it from right underneath here. So I got the panel trim tool right underneath this center console trim, and I'm just going to push up like that. And because this is a plastic panel trim tool, it's not going to damage the material of the vehicle. And I'm just going to mimic the same thing on this side as well, although it's a little bit tighter. And just like that, pop it off, and now you're able to take off your entire center console here, which is very, very cool. I told you it seems like it's magic, but it's actually pretty legit. So the one issue that you guys might run into if you guys are trying to do this as well at home, I'm not saying this is a tutorial by any means, but if you guys are trying to do this at home along with me, what you guys might want to be aware of is if you guys have the aftermarket aluminum billet handbrake handle, it's a lot harder to get this center console piece off because this is so much thicker than the factory stock handbrake handle. So this is going to be a little bit difficult for me. I'm just going to try and maneuver it off, and let's see how that goes here. So I'm just going to lift the back end up and kind of push it up. Lift my handbrake a bit. Push this a little bit further. It's right at the edge. And just like that, I got it off. Took a little bit of muscle, took a little bit of strength, a little bit of time, but if you guys are patient, you'll get it off without issue. And yeah, everything's still in pretty good shape. If you guys do have a car vacuum on hand, now would be a good time to kind of vacuum up underneath your center console. But now that we got all of that out of the way, the next step we could actually do is these side little fins or plastic trim here on both left and right side. These actually just pull straight off. Very, very simple. You don't have to put a lot of pressure, at least in my case. And I'm going to do the same for this side. A little bit of pressure and it pops right off. And now what that does is it reveals our 6 screws here that we need to take out. I believe it's a 7mm. Let's go ahead and test that. Alright, so I got my 7mm socket and it is the right fit. So we're just going to go ahead and kind of crack all of these. It would be probably easier if you guys have an extension. I do have one. I don't have it on me, however. So This is gonna take a little bit, but essentially we're just unscrewing bolts or screws here, so nothing crazy to look at. And yeah, catch you guys once this is off. All right, so once you got all 6 of those screws out, you can kind of just pop this off, bend the top down just a little bit, like so, and then you'll have a little bit of room to pull this, but you're not too much because there's actually some climate control switches that are plugged into the back. Luckily, since we took off these fins here, we'll be able to reach behind and actually disconnect these, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. This good old clip that almost broke my fingers. Is this supposed to come down? I forgot already. This clip. Alright, so I got the 2 climate control switches at the bottom. They're really difficult to take out. I recommend watching a video on how to take those out. And now we have these 3 at the back here for your cigarette lighter, traction control, and your info / setup. Now this clip is one that I actually really hate. You need to push something in here and pop it out. I'm gonna grab my screwdriver here and just kind of put it in the side and kind of hope and pray that it comes out. There we go. And once you got all of that out, this bad boy should just pop right out, and you could then rest that aside as well. Let's put it right here on the dash. Alright, now as you guys can see, this exposed 4 more 7mm screws here. Just going to go ahead and take those off, and our whole head unit should come right out. Once you get those 4 screws out, you can actually just pop your head unit out, and there's going to be on at least the stock S197 05 to 09 S197s, there's going to be about 4 things at the back you got to take out. I can't show them to you guys, but one is your this orange cord here. I can't exactly remember what it is. I think it's the RCN. And then you're gonna have a clip that you need to press down and out, and that's this. And then you're gonna have another one. So that's 3 so far. And then the 4th and last one is the biggest one, which is pretty much the whole operation or brains of the system. It's actually the most difficult to get out as well. So I'll get back to you guys once I get this pesky clip out. Once you get all those clips out, you could pull your old head unit, which is pretty hefty, and you can see all the guts of it. So this was the biggest clip. This was the one that's a pain to pull out. The pretty much, you know, has all the sensors and stuff in it. There's these 2 clips as well, and then this orange cable. So those are the only things connected to the stock radio. And of course, these were our clips for up top, and then these were our 2 clips for down below. So now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and unbox the new head unit and see, you know, the material and hardware that we got with that one. Alright guys, so we got the Pioneer 2660NEX here, and in the box I did open it already. So we have some manuals and guides, as well as the main attraction, the actual head unit here. So I'll go ahead and toss that aside and unveil to you the Pioneer DMH 2660NEX. So this has all the features I want. It's extremely light. It's at least like a quarter of the weight of the old one. Touch screen, has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, although wired, not wireless. Supports a backup camera. Supports Sirius XM. It pretty much supports everything. This costed me about $500 Canadian, and yeah, it's the unit that I, after all my research, decided was the best one for me and my needs, as well as for my budget. So I'll go ahead and include a list of other options I was looking at in the comment section below, just in case you guys were wondering. But definitely do your research before you buy one of these, because they are pretty expensive pieces of equipment, and you want to make sure you're getting the right one for your needs and that fits your budget. So now that we've seen the thing, let's go ahead and try and install it. Alright guys, so we got the new hardware here, the new head unit, and the one thing you're going to want to make sure you do, and this actually set me back the first time, if it looks like I'm fluent in doing this, this is actually only my second time, and it's because I actually did this whole thing, everything you guys saw me do up until this point. I did it all yesterday because I was planning to make this video yesterday, but I did not have a wiring harness kit. And so I didn't really know exactly how to connect the old connector to my new head unit here. So make sure you guys have a wiring harness kit. It'll make the job a lot easier. And I'm going to be using butt connectors along with some electrical tape to connect the wires, obviously, from the old to the new. And along with that, my head unit did come with a external microphone, a wired external microphone. And for those of you with keen eyes, you guys would have noticed that it's actually already installed. I've actually ran the wire down the A-pillar, down to the side of the dash, under my driver footwell, and into the head unit area. And again, I did this all yesterday because this was supposed to be a video for yesterday. So I'm not going to be showing you guys the install of that, but that only took me about 15 minutes tops. You're just kind of running the wire down, and it's really nice and loose here. It's not pinched, so I can pull the wire back and forth really easily, which means that the wire's not being chewed or shredded on any plastic panels. So with that being said, the next step, and the step that I find the hardest of this install, is going to be actually kind of splicing, so to say, the wires from the old to the harnessing kit, and then plugging it into the stock stuff that actually comes in our vehicle. So I'll bring you guys in for a closer look, and let's go ahead and try and figure this out. Alright guys, so just to give you guys an idea of what exactly I'm going to be doing, and rather trying to do, just to give you guys a warning, I'm horrible when it comes to things with wires and stuff like that. Not only does it scare me a little bit because of, I'm just a little bit afraid of electricity, but also it kind of confuses me. But this is essentially the wiring kit, the wiring harness kit, which is going to be connecting to my stock plug right here. And so essentially what I need to do, this is the wiring harness that came with the actual head unit, and it has colors that match up with the colors on the wiring harness kit. And essentially what I'm pretty sure I have to do here, they already come pre-snipped, so all I have to do is kind of pull these little bit of plastic sheathings off, exposing the copper wire, and then pretty much match up color with color. And I'm going to be using these butt connectors, which I've been doing a little bit of testing with, just to kind of see how these worked. I even looked up a video to make sure I know how these things work, because that's how new this stuff is to me. So if this ends up working, trust me when I say that if I could do it, literally anyone watching this, no matter what your age is, no matter what your comprehension level is, if I could do it, you guys could do it at home. But again, that's only if I could actually do this successfully. So I'm going to put both of these ends into my little butt connectors, and then put some electrical tape around it to make a nice seal, and hopefully that works. I'm just kind of going through the colors and making sure that we do have all the colors that I see on this. The only one that's throwing me off is the parking brake wire. I need to do some research on that. I do see a light green wire here in the center console area that looks like my parking brake wire, so I'm not sure if I'm supposed to tap into this wire and connect that for the head unit. I'm gonna see if that's important, but yeah, for right now what I'm gonna be doing is kind of just exactly what I explained, and we'll see how this first one goes, and then I'll probably pick the video back up assuming this one goes successfully. Alright guys, so a change of plans here. I actually got kicked out of the filming location that I was at. They had to lock up, unfortunately, so I had to reconnect my battery, and now I actually made a few phone calls because this wiring part is getting me really confused. I already connected several wires of matching colors with butt connectors, but there's still so many wires that I don't know. Like, I don't know how to get the light green wire tapped into the parking brake wire. I know where the parking brake wire is. I showed you guys that briefly, but I don't know how exactly to tap into it, if I have to cut the wire myself or what have you. So I've called a couple places. There's a place 20 minutes away. They said they'll take a look at it. I told them I already have everything ripped apart. I just need help with the wiring, and I'll put everything back together myself. So I'm heading there right now and hoping that they can help me with the wiring. Pretty disappointed in myself yet again. I'm constantly biting off a little bit more than I could chew. I knew wiring is my huge weakness. I wanted to try and tackle it myself. I got several wires connected, but again, there's too many outstanding wires for me to feel comfortable to put everything back together. Because again, there's too many outstanding wires. So I'll catch you guys when I'm actually there. and hopefully they'll allow me to record some of the process so that you guys, and so I could see it as well. So I'll see you guys there. Alright guys, so I brought my car here to Car System Installation, CarAudioToronto.com, and pretty much explained to them my whole situation. So they're just going to do the wiring for me because that's the only part that I have a problem with. I'm going to go ahead and install everything back myself. So just to do the wiring is going to be $50, thankfully. If they had to do the whole installation, it'd be more something like $200. However, I also asked them if they know, or how much it would cost to do my backup camera, just so I could get that banged out as well, because that also entails some wiring. And they were telling me a quote that if I just wanted to do the wiring again and I would do the installation, it would be $50. But if they have to do the full installation of the rear backup camera, then it would cost something more like $200. And I'm wondering if I should do only the wiring as well again, or if I should let them do the whole installation for around $200. I'm not entirely sure yet what I'm going to decide, but at least for the head unit itself, that's only going to cost me $50 for the wiring on that end. And then I'll just plug everything in. So I'll probably let them do the entire installation of the backup camera though, just so that it's all seamless and everything is nice, and so that I don't run into any more problems and have to bring the car back or anything. But super proud, or is super happy that I brought the car to these guys, because they seem like they know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what I'm talking about. They know exactly where I got stuck. So I'm glad I came here. Of course, I would have rather have been able to do it all myself, but these guys are going to solder the wires in perfectly and make everything a breeze, and make everything done professionally. So for that peace of mind, I don't mind paying the extra price. But yeah, I'll catch you guys when hopefully everything is done. Alright guys, so we finished up at that Pro System install place, and honestly, they were pretty awesome because they understood that I just needed the wiring done so I could hook everything back up myself. So if you guys actually come in here, you'll see that they actually soldered the wires together. They didn't use butt connectors. They soldered everything very professionally and put some electrical tape on top of it. So much better job than I would have done. And these guys have installed thousands of these in the past, so they already know what they're doing. So all I really have to do is kind of plug and play. However, that orange cable that you guys saw earlier, that's the cable that actually gives your head unit AM FM radio. So that was a little bit short because the new location for it is on the opposite side of the factory one. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. But I'm just trying to loosen up some tension so I could pull that cord a little bit and plug it in properly to the head unit. Now, like I mentioned before, we already wired our external microphone here, so we're just going to plug that in. And the last thing that I want to plug in is the reverse camera. I told them to do the wiring for me for the reverse camera, so now all I have to do is kind of, put it in the spot, drill the bumper, and do all that little bit of stuff. But that's most likely going to be for another video because I know this one's probably already super long. So I'm just going to kind of piece everything together, and hopefully it all works great. They already tested the head unit at the location. They're professionals, so they definitely wanted to make sure their wiring was correct. Everything worked, left front, right front. They tested each speaker individually. Everything works perfect. So now I just need to throw everything together and make sure that it still works. Otherwise, if not, that means I fucked up. So let's get to it and hope this baby gets put together nicely. Alright guys, so as you guys could probably tell by my surroundings, not only has it gotten late on us here, but it's actually started storming right when I was actually drilling. Right as I actually got to drilling into the rear bumper for the backup camera, I was feeding the wires through. I managed to get one of them all the way to the head unit, which is what I need, so that I could not have to take this head unit back out to install the backup camera. I wish I had another 2 hours of sunlight. That for sure, hopefully, would have probably, been enough time. But yeah, I'm just gonna have to finish up what I can right now. As you can see, this rain doesn't like me trying to talk over it, so regardless, this won't be the end of the video, so I'll see you guys whenever I get time. Alright guys, so in typical Octane Street fashion, it is clearly the next day here because every project I tackle has to take me a minimum of 2 days. But as you guys will be able to see, I do actually have the head unit installed. It's working amazingly. I have my AM FM radio. That's Android Auto that you guys are looking at. It plays Spotify automatically via Bluetooth once I get in the car. So it really bumped this car's tech up a whole nother level. It's giving me features that even my 2014 Veloster didn't have. So really happy with this head unit. It's way easier for me to take apart and throw back together these center consoles now in these Mustangs. The only reason why it was taking me a little bit long last night is because I was actually trying to set up the whole rear view camera all at once, as well as that little orange AM FM radio cable. That cable did not want to make it all the way to the other side of this head unit, so I had to really kind of track it down and slowly release tension along the way so that I could actually plug it in properly. But yeah, everything's working. I even have it set up so that if I put the car in reverse here, it'll actually give me a black screen with the guidelines there if I want to put them on and off, if you guys can see that. And then once I put it back into park, it goes right back to my Android Auto. So really cool. I'm gonna actually work on that right now, get a start early in the day here, and hopefully I can bang that out. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the install of my Pioneer DMH 2660NEX. Absolutely love it. It was a whole day kind of thing for me, but it was a lot of fun, and my wife would agree. It was a lot of fun, some frustrating moments, but overall it was a lot of fun, and more importantly, it was definitely a learning experience. So if you guys want to see more content like this, super long installs that never go as planned, then you guys know what to do. Subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you guys could ride shotgun with me in the next video. My name is Karen, this is Octane Street, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.